Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing well and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my July roundup, and honestly I cannot believe we're heading into August already. I feel like my summer has not been summering the way it's supposed to right now. I need to fix that in August. I need to make up for lost time, I feel like. But anyways, if you aren't familiar with my roundup videos, I basically go throughout all the products I brought into my collection this month and I give you my final review after testing the products out for a longer period of time. I separate them into 3 categories. So the first one are my favorites. So this section is kind of like my monthly favorites. And then I go into the products I liked. And those are the products that performed really well. I just have a few critiques about them, or I just find them to not be the most unique. And then we head into my last category, my disappointments, or the products that I just found unremarkable. So now that I gave you the gist of today's video, I'd love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It means so much to me, and let's get to it. So of course I'm going to start off with my favorites of the month, and I wanted to kick it off with the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. I wasn't sure about this palette at first, but then it quickly became the only eyeshadow palette that I've been reaching for. I really love this one. I find it to be quite unique in a sense. I know it is just like a warm neutral eyeshadow palette, but I love the versatility of this one. I like how he added 2 creams here so you can get something very smoky like I'm wearing today. You can wear the creams alone, or you can layer these shadows on top to get different kind of looks. I feel like you can achieve so many things with this palette, and I also find that this palette is on trend with the makeup styles these days. I love the shimmers because they're not super intense. They're more like toppers or slight shimmers that are very flattering, and they aren't going to give you that super foiled metallic look, which I am more keen on using these days. I am wearing this one on my eyes today, and if at any point of this video my eyeshadow starts to crease, it's because I forgot to apply an eyeshadow primer, and my oily eyelids are out to get me today. It's rude. It's very rude. Anyways, this palette has quickly shot itself up into some of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. Like, it's right up there next to my Natasha Denona Biba palette. I just love its versatility. I do find that the Biba palette is more versatile in the sense that you get a lot more variety in tones. Like, you get cool tones, warm tones, and this one is solely warm tones, but this is pretty much all I wear these days. And this palette only lives on my desk right now. It has not seen my eyeshadow palette drawer yet. I love everything about this palette. I love the shimmers, the toppers, the mattes, the creams. They all just perform the way they're supposed to, and it's very fuss-free, which I love. So all that goes to say, I highly recommend this palette if you've had your eyes on it. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I know it's a bit of an investment, but it's honestly phenomenal. Next up, I have a foundation here, and this is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, and this has got to be one of the most reliable foundations. It's truly worth the hype, and I wish I picked this up sooner. I love its consistency. It's super thin, but it packs a lot of coverage. I would say it's like a nice medium coverage, so my skin still shines through, but it overall looks very perfected, and it also blurs out the skin beautifully. I've honestly really fallen in love with this foundation here, and what's really amazing is that it plays well with anything I use on top or underneath. It just is a miracle foundation, and when I don't feel like using a skin tint, I have been reaching for this one just because I don't have to worry about it. I love its finish as well. I love how there's that little tiny bit of glow running through it, but it's nothing too much, so it lasts beautifully on my oilier skin type. Honestly, this foundation is described perfectly. It says here on the bottle, "Perfect glow, flawless foundation," and that's truly what this one is. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have another foundation here, and this is the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. And in an earlier video this month, I did compare it to the M Cosmetics Cushion Foundation, and I do find them to be quite similar in a sense. This one here has more coverage, and it is a thicker consistency as well. It's definitely like a foundation version of the M Cosmetics Cushion. It has a true serum texture, so it feels more like a gel in a sense, and I really like its ease of use. When I first applied this, I was concerned about how it was going to last on my oilier skin type, and it does get kind of heavy nearing the end of the day, but it's nothing too much. Like, I still reached for this one quite a bit this month. I find that the overall look and effect is worth that heaviness at the end of the day. It's so stunning. It has a very glowy finish. If you have a drier skin type, I would really recommend this one. I feel like people with drier skin would adore this stuff. If you have a super oily skin type, I would probably stay away from this one. It might be too heavy for your liking, but overall I really like this foundation and it has entered my foundation rotation. I actually have a few other LYS products to talk about here, and I'll start with the translucent powder. This is the Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder. This one also made it into my powder rotation. I really like this one. I find that it stands off on its own. Like, I don't really find it compares to other ones I have in my rotation currently. I love how blurring this one is, and it also keeps my makeup set for a long time, especially for a pressed one. I find that some pressed ones allow my oils to seep through a lot quicker, but this one makes my makeup last a bit longer than others I've found. Overall, I think this one is a great powder to try out. I've had flawless results every time I've used this. I'll just flow right into the bronzer. I use the shade Motivate, and this is one that I wasn't sure about at the beginning, just because when I first applied this, it really took to the LYS foundation, and since this foundation is on the more emollient side, I feel like it really grabbed onto any powder. But I've tried this on a couple of other foundations and it looked flawless each time. It's very blendable, and it has like the same kind of blurring qualities that their powder has, which I adore. And I find this one's undertone to be quite unique because it has that yellowness that I like in bronzers, but it also has a red undertone, which I do enjoy as well, because when I naturally tan in the sun, I do tend to like this reddish color, so I find it to be very flattering. Another thing that I enjoy about this one is that it's not too pigmented, nor is it too sheer. It's just perfectly in the middle there, and it blends beautifully, so you're able to build it up without getting yourself in trouble and loading your face up with too much product. But all that goes to say is that this one is another terrific bronzer, and I think it's worth checking out if you're looking for a bronzer. And lastly, from LYS, I had to mention the cream blush. This one here is my favorite of the ones that I have personally. It's the shade Kindness. It's this beautiful pinky peach color, and this is a really terrific cream blush. I find that it has like a unique finish. It's not too glowy nor matte. It's just like perfectly in the middle there. Once again, they just really nailed it with the finish and the texture. And this one wears really nicely because once it's on your skin, it kind of feels like it has these powders inside, so it lasts a very long time, which is sometimes rare with cream blushes, but this one has that longevity. Following up, I wanted to give a mini update about the Fenty Beauty Concealer. I have been using this stuff like crazy this month, and I did look back at one of my older videos, and I used to not like it because I found it to be too drying, but that's no longer the case. And this has honestly been the only concealer I've been reaching for. It just wears very beautifully, especially in the summer. I find that my under eyes don't last as long. I don't know if it's because I sweat or like my oil trickles up there. I have no idea, but I tend to crease a lot more in the summer under there, and this has stopped it without making my under eyes look crepey or too textured. It is on the more matte side, but it doesn't look dry under the eyes at all. So I've been really liking this one. So there's my mini update about the Fenty concealer. Next up, I have a couple mascaras. The first one I wanted to mention is the Essence Lash Princess. This is the only one I've tried so far. It's the False Lash Effect mascara. I really like this one. It truly does give you super volumized and lengthened lashes, which I adore. The only thing I have to say is do not wear this on your lower lashes. I find that it is a super smudger, but it's fine on my top lashes. I don't encounter any issues with it up there. I love the wand because it comes to a very thin point, so you're able to get into all the lashes in the inner corner with ease. And I love how this one is more of a quick mascara as well. It really loads a ton of product on your lashes, then you can really work it through to get that length and the volume. Overall, stunning and very quick mascara. I love that. And the last product I have in my favorites is the e.l.f. Big Mood Mascara, and I find this to be a pretty much exact dupe of the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara. I'm still waiting for this one to kind of thicken up to get that super volume, but it's a dupe nonetheless. The brush is the exact same. This is what I'm wearing on my top lashes today, and it's been amazing. So I'd recommend this one because you get the exact same results and for less money. Now let's move into my liked category. So I wanted to start off with my last LYS product in today's video, and this is the Speak Love Glossy Lip Treatment Oil. And I'm only going to be using this as like a night treatment on my lips because it is really nice and nourishing and moisturizing. But if you're going to be out and about and talking, it's very sticky and gloopy. So I'm going to use it up, but I don't see myself repurchasing it. So I really like it, but I don't love it. This here is the NARS Radiant Creamy Color Corrector. And I find for a color corrector, this one is quite tricky to use. I find that if you apply too much or you apply it with a brush or a sponge, I find that it looks very thick and dense under the eye, and when you apply concealer on top of it, it just looks way too much under your eyes. It's just not a good look. This only works if you apply a tiny little dot and you blend it in with the warmth of your finger. It's tedious to work with, and I'm not about that life. I like products that just work. I don't have to think about it. I have yet another mascara, and this one is from Rouge Beauty. I found this one to be quite similar to the Marc Jacobs one in the beginning, but I find that this formula is a bit tricky to work with because it arrives to you quite dry already. It performs like an aged mascara, so as this one has aged in my collection, it has gotten harder and harder to work with. So that's the only downside to this one. The effect is really pretty. It gives really lengthened and slightly volumized lashes. And again, I do really like this wand because it is very thin. My only concern is this one will dry up a little bit quicker than others. I have a couple lip products to talk about. I'll start with these right here. This is the ColourPop Glossy Lip Stains, and I would completely take the word glossy out of this product, but it is a really nice lip stain. It does apply like kind of shiny at first, but after a couple minutes, it does completely set down and it turns more into like a satiny texture. I would not say that these are glossy in any sense. But putting that to the side, I think these are really nice lip stains. I do really love wearing lip stains, especially if I'm going out to the bar or dinner. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about retouching them throughout the night. I can just forget about it. In my experience, oh my god, that one just fell right into my booby crack. Okay. I love how these ones stain because in my experience, some of them tend to stain in a blotchy manner. This is a very even stain, and it's obviously very long wearing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on these. No gloss, but good stain. Next up, I have a gloss to talk about, and this is Fenty Beauty's newest addition to the Gloss Bomb family, and this is the Gloss Bomb Heat in the shade Hot Cherry. This one turned out to be nothing like I was expecting. It is a lot sheerer than I was anticipating, and it's a lot more pink in tone as well. I thought it was going to be like a nice true red, and honestly it is a fun change from my usual style, so I'm not mad at it. It's just not what I was expecting. I do still think it's very beautiful, and it's very different from the other glosses I have in my collection. So I am going to be keeping it around. The only downsides to this product for me is its scent. It has a very strong lip plumper smell, and it smells exactly like cigars, and it lingers for quite a while. It does eventually dissipate, but it kind of stays for a notable amount of time, and the plumping qualities are not there for me. I don't find that it does any plumping action whatsoever, and if it does, it lasts like 2 to 3 minutes. It's nothing major compared to other ones I've tried in the past. If you're looking for something very plumping, I have major flashbacks of the Nabla Viper lip plumper. That was the most painful, most plumping one. But anyways, I'm going to be keeping this one around because I think the color's cute, but it's super stinky. So if you're very sensitive to smells, I wouldn't recommend this one, especially for a lip gloss. It's going to be chilling right under your nostrils. Don't think it's going to be a fun time for you. I have yet another lip product here, and this is the Bite Beauty new lipstick. So they came out with a different formula, and it has this more velvet matte finish, and I do really like them. I just prefer the MAC Powder Kiss bullet lipsticks because I find them to be a lot smoother. These ones I find to be a bit more tuggy on the lips, although you still get a really nice effect and good payoff. I just find that this formula is a little bit more on the dry side, and it does enhance my lip lines a little bit more than I would like. Is it my favorite lip formula ever? No, but I do enjoy it. And the last product I have in my liked category is the ColourPop High Tide palette, and I find this one to be a beautiful all teal palette. I love the range of tones in here. I think every shadow has a place in this one. I like the range of depth. The only issues I've had with this one is that I find it to be very, very powdery, but you can work around that. The payoff of the actual eyeshadows are really nice. I just find them to be a bit dry. Overall, they layered on top of one another really nicely, but once I got to like my fourth layer, I did notice that the shadows were lifting off from one another, so that's something to keep in mind. I find that there's a little bit of inconsistency between the mattes. Some of them tend to have a lot more kickback, whereas others don't have any kickback at all. And usually kickback isn't a thing I complain about much unless it's very intense, and it was super intense with the deeper matte shades in here. But overall, if you're looking for an all teal palette, I think this one is a good one. There's just a few things that I needed to be very picky on and I thought were notable. So that's my only concerns with this one. Overall, I am going to be keeping this one. I find that it is a beautiful all teal palette. I love my teals after all. You guys know that. So now let's move on to my disappointments, and I only have 3 products in this category. So I wanted to talk about yet another ColourPop product. This is the Cheek Dew Serum Blush, and I wasn't sure how I was feeling about it in my initial video trying this out, but after I finished filming and my day went on, I did find that this was very, very sticky on my cheeks, and it was very uncomfortable feeling. Like I could feel it on tops of my cheeks. It felt like I applied like a thin layer of Vaseline on top of my makeup. So you know that feeling, it's like a little bit tingly, not tingly, but like you just feel it. Also, I was not a fan of this sour cherry shade. I found that it was too rashy of a shade for my skin tone. It really took me back to the days where I was in makeup school and we had to recreate road rash on people. This is like the exact same color as the road rash fake blood I used, the jelly stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of put me off of this color, but that's totally just a me thing. I just know if this was sitting in my collection, I would never ever use this. But I think that's all I have to say, is that I just did not enjoy this color, nor did I like how it wore throughout the day. I have a setting powder here. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. I keep hearing knocks and I'm trying to decide if that's my cats or a ghost or a human at my door. I can't tell which one. Anyways, yes, about this face powder, on me, I found it to be way too metallic looking, and I found that it really accentuated the texture on my cheeks right here. I found that it super enhanced my pores, and it just overall made me look fishy, scaly, metallic, Tin Man. Not a fan. I know this powder is very well loved by a lot of you, but sadly it just did not work for me and my preferences. My search for my perfect drugstore powder continues. And the last product in my disappointments is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Divine Glow Highlighter in the shade Golden Nectar. And this highlighter has every quality that I dislike in a highlighter. That sounds very, very negative, but it's just nothing that suits my tastes. It's very, very out there, super blinding, but it also has a thicker consistency. It's almost as thick as like a satin eyeshadow, and I really don't like the way that this highlighter sits on top of my skin. It just looks very obvious and mismatched from the rest of my makeup. It's really too bad, but it was just far too glimmery, glittery, thick. I don't know. It just doesn't suit my preferences, which is really too bad. That concludes this month's Roundup video. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, please give this video a like. It would help me out so very much. I'll make sure to link all of these products in the description down below as always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye!